Welcome back to the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. My name's Andrew Portwine. You're just tuning in time. We have Kelvin Clippers out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, of course, hotbed of junior ultimate. And we have the Bowmanville Talons. Basically a home game for Bowmanville. They're probably only about a 15 or 20 minute drive. I'm sure there's lots of friends and family out to watch for Bowmanville. So. Kelvin making their first trip to the Canadian High School Championships. So we'll see how they fare here. Typically teams from Winnipeg are pretty strong, so they're probably making a justified trip out here. See if that home support for Bowmanville, friends and family, can get them over the hump here, playing one of the maybe better teams from Manitoba coming out. So we have Kelvin pulling the disc, wearing maroon reversible bro tanks. Likely a VC product. Fantastic. And we have Bowmanville Talons wearing white with red accents. So Kelvin, not having any numbers on their jersey, is unfortunately going to make it difficult for me to give some shout-outs to the actual players by name, unfortunately. Bowmanville looks like they have some names and numbers on their jerseys, and I've got a roster that the coach was kind enough to supply to me, so see if we can make sure that we get, you know, some of the better players here and people making good plays, get them some calls on the air. So Kelvin, the low swing pass for the turnover here. Bowmanville right at the front of the end zone, centering the disc. Nice and calm from the handler, directing his cutters where to go. Not in a rush whatsoever. Unfortunately turned the side of the disc up. I got caught in the wind there. Kelvin, another unfortunate drop. Bowmanville had that deflect off the palm of her hand there. Looked like a nice little upline cut for the point. So Bowmanville putting on a nice loose zone here. Lefty for Kelvin, able to funnel that up the line. The swing pass just gets away. You can see the wind kind of bounce that one across. So Bowmanville looks very patient. Wind sailed that. It was a wide open cut. Good spot to attack. A little better execution next time. That was Nate Ambrose, I think, the throw there. Yep, number 13. So I know he'll do better than that next time. Both teams a little bit of a jittery start here. A couple of easy turnovers. Nice grab there. Great concentration to just knock it down high and then catch it down low. So looking for the big downfield pass. I'm not sure that was in play for very much of its flight path. Yeah, looks like it's coming back to about maybe 20 or 25% of the flight path here. So Bowmanville 20 yards out to start this possession. It's number 74, Jared Canfield, with the disc. He just looks so calm, surveying the field, standing there. So Kelvin right at the front of the end zone here, sideline. Lefty handler, funnels it through. Nice toss through the cup. So a little better patience from Kelvin. 3 receivers there, they just couldn't quite communicate who was going to catch it. Disc just floating. You can see receiver had to just jam the brakes on and turn. Nice low catch. Did get that before it hit the turf. There's a bonus roll. 3-4 more yards. So Jared Canfield with the disc. He's got an open swing in the middle. He's looking downfield. Throws the hammer. Tails off. I don't know if a hammer is the best choice today with the wind the way it is, especially when you have a wide open swing in the center of the field. I feel like there's been a meme created about that. So Kelvin with the nice short pass here. You can see the number 33 in the backfield playing the zone there, just waiting for that swing to come across. Just waiting for the poach D. Excellent attempt on the offense there to try and grab that disc. Full layout, even with the defender beside him. So both teams with a number of turnovers here. There's a big downfield put. Big layout grab. Out of play, I think. Yeah, she's frustrated with herself. You can see her swiping that disc through the air. What a layout. Great grab. Can't quite see the number there. 33, I think that is. Rachel McQuigg. Fantastic grab. Great effort. So Kelvin breaking out here. Getting some good vertical throws in here. Taking some chunk yardage. Bowmanville defense finally caught up here and slowed them down. Still have that zone set up. Mark backs off. So Kelvin patiently playing a short game here. Good upline cut. And there's a goal. Excellent work from Kelvin, moving it up the field. Kelvin hangs one on the board, 1-0. Bowmanville looked really calm while they were out there. Seemed like they were almost too calm and tried a couple of plays maybe they shouldn't have, so Kelvin made them pay with that point, so see if Bowmanville gets a little more serious on this one. Both teams on the line. Kelvin getting some instruction from their coach. We have some players from the previous game trying to pass me a disc up here in the broadcast booth. It's a pretty small window to get it in here. Might need Brody Smith for that. Alright, Kelvin with the pull. Nice low driving pull. Good. Great pull. Got it down to the brick mark. Out the side of the end zone, but good distance. So Bowmanville on the offense here. Sailing that swing pass over the receiver's head. So Kelvin's getting a gift here at the 4 or 5 yard line right in front of the end zone. Bowmanville keeping that zone on. Kelvin with the little one pass point. Nice grab. So 2 bagel. Kelvin made short work of that one. That's a good job. Nice casual catch from the cutter in the end zone there. Though I guess when you're in the Manitoba system, or in the Winnipeg more specifically, you know, you're playing against St. John's and you're playing against these other top schools, you get used to it. Just at a quick glance, it looks like Bowmanville High has some taller ladies, taller than Kelvin anyway, on this current line. They may want to try and take advantage of that. Kelvin has a fairly short lineup on the field as a whole right now, so that may be to their detriment. See if Bowmanville might want to play a little higher game here, try and use their height. So Kelvin just getting ready to pull. Bowmanville waving their arms frantically that they're ready to receive the pull. So the low forehand pull still got decent distance around half field, but pretty sure he'd like to do a little better than that. So if you're watching, Twitter @aportwine. Must have some Manitoba folks watching. Not everybody could make the trip here. There's got to be friends and family. Some of these guys should get active. So turnover from Bowmanville. Kelvin with the disc in the shadow of their end zone here. Need to get a little bit of positive yardage. Well, that was tip off the receiver's hands, off the defender, and back to the receiver. Some good concentration. Couldn't do that if you had another 100 attempts at it. Nice poach D there. Easy run through. So the handler directing his troops here as he comes up. Deep throw to the back of the end zone. It sails out the end zone. Handler hasn't moved, not pleased with himself about that throw. He's still standing. There we go. He just took his first step, leaving that spot. So zone on. Kelvin gets it a little bit off the sideline. Nice disc right through the cup. Good concentration to make the catch. Kelvin making a great play. Was inbounds on the sideline, some question to it, but inbounds at the catch. Head rotated onto the sideline after catching it. Deep pass. No receivers down there for him, so easy D for Bowmanville. Walking it up to the end zone line. Backhand pass on the far sideline. Receiver shaking her hand. I think that might have clipped off the end of her finger there. And jam a finger or catch a fingernail the wrong way. So Kelvin surveying the field here. Little handler play back and forth. Still surveying, looking for something upfield. Through the cup with a bullet right at a stationary receiver. Throw and go, good concentration on the reception. Dump to the handler. Big swing, deflected off of the one-hand grab. Got a streaker running downfield, trying to hit the big toss. There it is. Easy interception for the defender. Not quite enough distance on that put. This handler for Kelvin really putting some bullets through that cup. Receivers are brave to be, 6 yards away taking full power shots. They must feel like they're playing guts or something out there. There's another power shot just through the hands of the receiver. Downfield throw. Another interception for Kelvin back near the end zone. Right through the cup again. I think there might have been a foot on that one, but it still made it through. Looked like it changed direction a little bit and surprised one of the receivers. Downfield in the end zone. Layout, can't reel that in. That disc was up, down, turning left and right. Good job from the receiver, even get a hand on that. So we've got a turnover here. Bowmanville, high release. Layout, can't make the grab. Quick played that one. High release forehand. So let's see if Bowmanville tightens up this cup. That handler in the gray shirt that has the disc now is thrown through it about 3-4 times already. They need to be aware of that. Not leave any gaps. Just threw right through it again. I don't believe that was the intended receiver. The receiver cut through the throwing corridor and got hit by the disc essentially. I don't think that was the intended receiver. Scuba. Looks like Nate Ambrose, number 13. I've seen a hammer and a scuba on one of the windiest days of the spring so far, so may want to clean that up. Better choices will bring better results, I think. Downfield. Jared Canfield with the big forearm up there to block it. He's looking deep. Looking for Rachel McQuigg in the end zone. She seems to be their designated striker. That's the third or fourth one they've been trying to hit her in the end zone with. So Ambrose to Canfield. Mark is right in his grill. Downfield again. One-handed stab. And a little celebratory spike. Rachel McQuigg. So they finally hit her on that pass. 2-1. Kelvin over Bowmanville. Bowmanville had a lot of throwaways and turnovers that sequence. They need to clean that up if they want to stay in this game long term. So Kelvin appears to be playing a little bit more well-rounded game. A lot more people touching the disc. Bowmanville, basically the same three people for that line that were touching the disc the whole time. I'm sure if that continues, Kelvin will just start to really key in on those consistently touching the disc. So Bowmanville signaling they're ready to pull. And pull is up. Turns the disc. Gets it past half field. Roll took it all the way across the adjacent field. Alright, disc is retrieved. So Kelvin going downfield. Both teams feeling pretty comfortable going for the big downfield throw on the left to right direction. the wind is going across the field, near side to far side as your camera view, so not sure what makes the left to right special for the downfield bombs. Looks like that disc went out of play well back. Looked like it was only in bounds for about a yard and a half. So the wind just knocked down that swing pass. That's the swing coming back into the wind toward the camera here. You can see that just dropped on the receiver. Great follow-up catch. So Kelvin has no other handlers in the backfield. Little push pass, wind caught it. You really got to snap your wrist on these. Good fakes. So now Bowmanville playing a bit shorter game, more people touching the disc. There's a drop. Looked upfield before it was in his hands. You could see his head come up. So Kelvin going over the middle of the field. Would have been a goal if it was caught. There's Bowmanville going for the big downfield. They were right at their goal line, so that's getting them some distance on that one. There was a receiver in the general neighborhood, but I don't think that was an actual strike attempt. Another drop on a short swing pass. So Kelvin here, 9 yards out. Good little juke from the receiver. So not in. Some debate, but no argument from the Manitoba player. And there's a nice grab. They'll do it the old-fashioned way and put it in twice. (3-1) for Kelvin. And Bowmanville, their next line was already on the line. I think as soon as that point was scored, they're already waiting. Clearly eager to get out there and get a point or two on the board, help their team out. One holdover from the previous point, joining 6 of his teammates. So Kelvin with 6 on the line, I believe, there. Unless someone's hiding. Oh, there we go. There's a 7th. Kelvin taking full liberties with the time between pulls. Making sure they're all on the same page. You can see them talking. It's good communication. Team getting set up. So pull coming off. Forehand pull again. Well done. Over half field. So Bowmanville retrieving the disc. Big downfield punt. Easy D for Kelvin. Bowmanville going back to the zone, putting a much larger marker on this time, and it pays off right there. Hand block on the first throw. Much more formidable task when you're just missed. Much more formidable task when you're trying to throw around someone that looks like they have about a 6-foot height and the wingspan that goes along with it. A leg cramp here. Player laid out in the end zone for the disc. Just that extra push. So you can see, even during just a small injury pause in the action, Kelvin gathers on the sideline. In essence, getting a timeout so their coach can give some instruction. So the player staying in the game. He's back to marking, so again, let's see if this wingspan pays off. Having to play a little pop pass. It's not the safest thing today, so Bowmanville getting what they want out of that. Downfield flick. Not sure that came into play, or if it did, it wasn't in play for very long. Yeah, Bowmanville is running this back up to the... looks like about the 7 or 8 yard line. So they're knocking on the end zone. Sailed the throw. Not able to convert. So Kelvin coming back, wide open swing, taking advantage of that already. Bowmanville playing a loose zone. Kelvin sitting in behind it. It's just too much distance to cover through a cup. Nice catch in the end zone. 2 attempts at it. So Bowmanville puts another on the board. So 3-2. Bowmanville cleaned up their play a little bit there from the early points. Bowmanville talking on the line there. Looks like they might be setting up a zone based on the hand gestures. They've been playing a zone in the other direction so far, so I'll assume they'll set it up in this way with the crosswind. Signaled they're ready. Kelvin still thinking about it. There we go. And that pull goes high and gets hung up in the wind. Pretty good distance, 3/4 field. Just means we have to go retrieve it again. So not sure where it went out of play. Centering the disc. So Kelvin goes big arm fake. It looked like it was going downfield. Ended up being a mid-range swing pass to the outside. I don't know if the receiver is ready for that. Nice throw through the cup. And trying to pound the end zone. Knocked down by the Kelvin defender. So Kelvin will have this right at the front of their end zone as they chase the disc. Alright, on the cone at the front of the end zone for Kelvin to initiate play. Big forehand under the arms of the cup, under the arms of the mark. Unbelievable toss. Half field. Big layout attempt. Might have been enough to distract the receiver. Couldn't haul that in for the goal. Big layout from the defender, 7 or 8 yards in front of the receiver. See the young man holding his hip. Looked like he came down awkwardly after that. A couple of the Bowmanville players having a talk there. Just trying to get on the same page from the looks of it. A little miscommunication on the last pass. So Kelvin at the front of the end zone. So they had everyone set up on one side of the end zone for the flood stack and sent only one handler to cut to the backfield. Convert it to a goal. So leaving lots of turf space for their cutters. One cutter from the stack on the near side goes to the backfield for the dump, and then the quick swing to the only other cutter on that half of the end zone. Four to 2 for Kelvin over Bowmanville. You can see Bowmanville running to the line. Short of tying up a shoe here, they're ready to go. Kelvin taking their time, being deliberate with their line calls. Coach is going to come out and have a couple of words as well. Being very focused and very deliberate in their play. Alright, so the Kelvin coach is off the field. Players are just kind of a quick chat, make sure they're on the same page. Bowmanville waving their arms. We want the disc, we're ready to receive. And looks like Kelvin's ready. Forehand pull. Just short of half. You can see the spin on that. Enough rotation that it actually kind of stuck to the turf and didn't let the wind take it away. Just missed the receiver over the middle of the field. That was Samuel Kerr they were trying to hit. So Kelvin. Empty the backfield. There's one more handler coming back. Good roll. Got them an extra 5-6 yards even though they couldn't complete the pass. Good series of fakes. The mark is nowhere to be near that disc. So they hit Samuel Kerr on that nice in cut. He was wide open. Fortunately, the throw hit the turf. So Kelvin with no handler support in the backfield. They're essentially leaving a single handler in the backfield to deal with this zone defense. That throw went straight out the sideline. They may want to rethink that and get at least a second handler back. Bowmanville Cup seems to be a pretty solid bit of defense. Nice one-handed grab. Hammer from half field. Out the sideline. Looks like from the sideline where they're pointing, maybe stayed in bounds for about 7-8 yards. Kelvin initiating play. Good active zone here. Had to have that low release and it just angled that disc straight up into the air. There was no way that one was going too far. There's a throw downfield. Looks like it hooked out a play again, and that disc is long gone. Good 50 yards down to the chain link fence. That should be a replacement disc. It's going to take a while to retrieve that one. This handler's getting more run going to chase the disc than he is during actual gameplay here. That literally was a good 70 yards downfield. So resuming play, another little wrinkle in the zone. They put the tall mark back onto the handler. Little bobble there from the defender. I think that hit off his head. Kelvin followed up for the completion. They're at midfield now. A little luck, but they're there. Nice thread through the zone. Nice chunk yard. It's 7 or 8 yard gain. Little pop pass. We got a streaker for the end zone. If they just hang it up, this should be a point. Hung the disc up, out the back of the end zone by 7 or 8 yards. All they had to do was just make sure it landed in the end zone anywhere, and the receiver probably could have ran onto that one. Bowmanville appears to have some fairly athletic and gifted players, but their decisions on throwing and some of their execution hasn't been the best thus far. I was hoping after the first 2-3 points, when they threw away some hammers and scoobers, they may try and make a few better choices, but the high release, little collision in the cup there. These high release passes, just aren't successful. There's a high release from Kelvin. Oh, lucky stab from player in the cup. Big diving block. I don't even know you can call that a hand block. That was a body block. Just laying out right in front of the big wind-up from the handler. So Bowmanville, disc centered. Big fake. Dump pass. Surveying. Two handlers content to slow play it between them, just waiting for their opportunity. High release pass. Works well to the cut over the middle, little slash cut. Dump back to the handler. Timeout called. Maybe stall 1 or 2. So Bowmanville here about 12 yards outside the end zone. Want to make sure they convert this. Looks like it's going to be a fairly low scoring game. Can't afford to not convert on some of these close opportunities. Both teams taking some opportunity here. You can see the Kelvin team. The whole team gets in the huddle. Bench players, on-field players. You can see they're all making use of the feedback that the coach is giving. Bowmanville dispersed their huddle. They're ready to go. So Kelvin getting into the field of play here. So Bowmanville setting up their entire stack on the near sideline here. All 4 players, vertical. And an upfield cut from the handler, and a scuba was attempted. Kelvin punts the disc up to about half field. Once again, I go back to Bowmanville. They call a timeout. They get the nice cut, and the handler tries a scuba, which has about a 5% success rate in weather like today. Big lofty punt to the end zone. It works. Kelvin, I think their defender got a hand on it, just not enough to take it away from the offensive player. So Bowmanville down by 1 currently. So I see the Westwood team from Winnipeg just departing from in front of our booth here. Looks like they were sitting and watching Kelvin, maybe offering some Manitoba support. No doubt heading back to their bus. Cooler day today. They'll probably be happy to get back to the hotel and warm up. So Bowmanville looking to pull. Kelvin just waiting to receive here. Signal from Bowmanville. And we have a pull. Got that disc to about half field. Puller turned his wrist over and exposed the underside of the disc to the wind. That was going to shank it out of play completely. Still got good distance though. Half field is a pretty good result. Kelvin lofts one up, going for the end zone. Bowmanville knocks it down. It's a good D from the Bowmanville player. Step in front of the receiver and make sure he gets the D. Nice upfield gain from Bowmanville. A little high for the receiver there. At full stretch, got a finger on it, but couldn't quite reel it in. So Bowmanville's changed up their defense here. Big layout for the D. Bowmanville going for the deep punt. Big layout, both D and O. O comes up with it. Jared Canfield, full stretch. Great defense as well. So Bowmanville onto the offensive half of the field now. Overshot the receiver with that pass. We have a call. We have an injured player on the field. Looks like a Bowmanville player holding her knee. Didn't see what happened there, but seems to be moving anyway, so not all bad. Well, we have a break in the action. We should take a chance to thank Ultimate Canada and their staff for putting this together. Terry-Lynn Belanger, carting herself all around the province, putting on events, all around the country, I guess would be a more specific answer. She's nodding her head. It's only Edmonton maybe for the next one. Or Hamilton first maybe. Port Hope, Ontario Juniors is next, then out to Edmonton, I think. So, hope you're getting a frequent flyer card. So the player's still down. Looks like she's rolling over though. May have just landed heavy on the knee on the turf. Got our physio attendant out there, so there's a trooper. She's dragging herself off to the sideline there so the game can continue. Physio can take a look at her, get her a safe distance from the sideline. So both teams had a little opportunity to have a chat with each other there, make sure we're on the same page. 4-3. So just getting everybody set up. Resume play with the disc in possession of Kelvin, just in front of their own end zone. So they need to go the full length of the field here if they want to convert. Signal from one of the handlers, just pipe it. Looks like they're going to play the punt and pin game, which they do. Punt it down to about 12 yards in front of the end zone. See if the strategy pays off. It does. Bowmanville turfed the swing pass, so Kelvin pretty close to the end zone. Little give and go with the handlers. Centered the disc. Every other pass coming back to this central handler here. Definitely controlling the game from Kelvin's point of view. Lofts a high one into the end zone. Might have been a high stall count there. It was right to the back line just to make sure it was either his defender or his offensive players or no one's. So Bowmanville swings the disc out toward the sideline. Trying to pipe one upfield. Defender knocked it down and blocked out the Bowmanville player from stopping the roll, so we got a good 10-yard advantage there. Very smart play. Bowmanville doesn't even walk it up to the front of the end zone, just punts it downfield. Completed. Not sure the intention was to complete that, more so than just to get out of the end zone. Another turnover. So Kelvin is 15 yards out. See if they have a little better luck converting this one. Forward pass for about 6 or 8 yards. Return to the handler. Need to get their cutters active. Bullet to the end zone. Player was open. Through just sailed a little bit. About ear height. Makes it a tough catch. I think the receiver got caught in the decision of one hand or two hands at that height. So Bowmanville punts it upfield, gets a nice roll for an extra 5 or 6 yards. So Kelvin has one of the receivers trying to sneak in the end zone. Bowmanville caught him. They're trying to hit him, see if the and the D undercuts it and can't quite get it. Kelvin with the point. Good catch from the receiver, one-handed, going over the defender. Gives him a 5-3 lead. So the wind has just picked up again. We just got another good gust or two. Bowmanville on the line. Down a couple. They want to get this game going. Kelvin gets their 7th on the line now. Kelvin will debate about the pole here, it seems like. And there goes the pole. It's a short pull and rolling back. So Bowmanville starting on their offensive half of the field. Going downfield for big chunk yardage. Off to the receiver's hands and out of play. Was Sam Buckle. I know she'd like that one back again. She'll catch that, I'm sure, 8 out of 10 times. So Bowmanville back to the 3-person zone, 3 ladies. Intercepted the pass downfield. Wide open throw over the middle, just dropped by the receiver. It was a pretty hot pass. Got through his hands, hit his chest. Deflected by the cup. And not caught by the receiver. It had just enough juice to get there. Couldn't quite reel it in. Bowmanville going for the end zone. Through the receiver's hand again. I think she might have got a hand on that. They're coming in pretty quickly there. That disc rolled quite a ways down. One of the sideline spectators or coaches went to get that, save us a bit of time. Little pop pass over the zone. That one just about fell short as well. Another pop pass up in the air. Deflected off Bowmanville defender's hands. And a turnover. Upline cut. Kelvin sniffed that one out. Intercepted it as if he was the offensive player running the actual cut. Floaty pass. Bowmanville bats it to the turf. Yards in front of the end zone here. Hammer. Big D from the Kelvin player. Just in time to take that away from the offensive receiver who would have caught that. They almost had simultaneous possession. Defender a little more aggressive to make sure she had that first. Just overshot the receiver there again. Got some leg cramps. I think that's the same player that had them earlier on while he was trying to dive. Wonder maybe a little bit of dehydration. Quite often on these colder days you don't feel like you need to drink water like you do on the hot sunny days. This is the side effects of it, so players just got to make sure to take care of themselves. Getting stretched out there. Looks like calf cramps based on where he's grabbing. Gonna hobble off now. I think that's Jared Canfield, if I can see the number correctly there. He's been one of their more instrumental players today, so See how that affects the team. Big swing pass just out of the reach of the handler on the far side, so Bowmanville is going to get good field position again here to try and punch one in. Swing it to the middle of the field. Knifing disc to the near sideline, couldn't quite reel that in. It's a tough catch. Big D from Bowmanville. A little give and go action. Just a good gust of wind picked up there as they were trying those short passes. Nice one-handed stab. Layout with the one-handed grab. Some debate as to whether it was actually caught. So with the reset, the handler throws it through the cup. Tried to return the favor and it got tipped by the defender. Going for the end zone for Bowmanville. Big layout. Like a fairly hard landing, but player bounced up. Rachel McQuigg didn't spend any time there on the ground, so Bowmanville playing the trap here. Handler tries to IO that through the cup. Basically take yardage. Big diving stop on the rolling disc over there from the sideline. At least they're having some entertainment with the game. Bowmanville going for the end zone. Got a foul call. Going back to the handler. Sure looked like the Kelvin player had clear position on that to make the D, unless something happened before I turned my head to the receiver. Bowmanville's pretty vehement in the call. Kelvin player looked like they clearly established position in front of the receiver to make that D. So Bowmanville lofts one back up again to the end zone. Caught. A little punch spike. So that's 5-4 for Kelvin. See how they respond to this. Not sure I would enjoy that punch spike being done right amongst my teammates. After giving up a point, you might want to hold off on that until your opponents started walking back to their bench. So both teams ready to get started on play here. Good pull from Bowmanville. Not sure where that crossed the line. It was rolling back for positive yards for Kelvin. That was a good pull. Bowmanville adjusted, put their puller onto this side of the field. Zero backfield help. Pumping one to the end zone. So they gained field position all the way to the end zone line, but Kelvin had zero players in backfield to help their handler. you knew it was going to be a downfield put the entire time. Swing pass, a little high for the handler. Can't quite reel it in. Kelvin, 4 yards out. Into the end zone. Cutting disc. Nice one-handed grab. Have a call from the looks of it. Bowmanville. Looks like they're having a discussion, making a call. Don't think there's anything there. That player was free and clear by a significant margin. And on a floating disc. You should have all day to recover on that, even if you were bumped or picked. 6'4" from Kelvin from Manitoba. So, good response from the Winnipeg team after giving up the last point. You can see some of the Bowmanville players on the sideline here getting some throws in, maybe trying to get a little more familiar with what's going on with the wind. Get a feel for the disc. It's kind of wobbly as it comes in at you as a cutter, so a couple extra touches never hurts. Bowmanville calling for the pull, knowing they're down and they need the time. Swing to the middle. A little inside out backhand to the near sideline. Is that Samuel Kerr that made the reception over here? They're going to look deep. That's going to be going way to the left. About a yard out the back. So Kelvin walking it up. Calling a timeout. Good strategic timeout. 2-point lead. Getting later in the time slot here, so probably a good smart play. Try and retain this 2 points. A little gamesmanship with the clock, I'm sure. So I suspect that Bowmanville is going to have a quick huddle here and probably try and urge Kelvin to get back on the field a little quicker than they want to. With not a lot of time left in this game, Bowmanville may start thinking about some of the bigger downfield passes. I know they've been doing it quite a bit through the game, but they may start forsaking even the 2 or 3 swings that were trying to set up their downfield passes and start going direct to the end zone. Bowmanville back to the 3-Lady Cup. Only one extra handler back in the backfield for Kelvin, and they hit him. There's the downfield throw. D made by Bowmanville. Wide open cut, dropped right at the doorstep. So Kelvin puts one up. And that's sailing back to the end zone. Is this staying in play? Caught by Kelvin. That thing hung forever and actually stayed in the field of play. Nice high release pass. Call made. So Bowmanville into a 4-person defensive set. Not sure if that's a specific 4-person cup or a taxi on the handler. No, that's a 4-person cup. Now back to the 3 ladies in the cup. Nice quick disc movement. Perhaps forcing that one. Bowmanville, the short swing pass. Looking downfield, tried to cut that disc back into the field of play. Went out of bounds after about 4 or 5 yards. It's gifting some good field position to Kelvin, who are in charge of this game right now up 2. If you're going to attempt downfield, at least keep it in play so that it forces them to go the full length of the field, or you can turn them over down at the goal line. Disc in play just past half field. Sails the swing pass to the far sideline. So Bowmanville probably going to go deep here. Looks like they've got a streaker to the end zone. And the throw ends up short. Good pass around the cup. High release pass to the middle. Big layout D. A layout catch as well. Well played. So Kelvin just maintaining possession here, eating clock. Doing exactly what they want to do. Nice grab, shoe top catch. Got a call. In at 7. Not sure what the call was there. Nice calm swing considering the high stall count. Nice swing pass, little upfield gain, 4 or 5 yards. There's a nice big gainer up the field. If they can punch it in, all the better. If not, they're still utilizing the clock here, eating a lot of time. There's a little cut pass, D'd by Bowmanville. The receiver just had to wait for that one. Just took too long to get there. Good mark, not allowing any downfield passes. Turnover on the swing. So once again, Bowmanville playing with fire here. Little cut pass again, and a goal for Kelvin. Receiver made a good choice to undercut that route. Saw the defender coming in. So 7-4. Looks like we have about, I want to say, 7 or 8 minutes to go. So Bowmanville, they need to get on the line quick. They need to convert some points pretty quickly. Kelvin, they just did exactly what they wanted to do. Ate a lot of clock and put the point on the board. Couldn't have gone any better. I'm sure their coach is ecstatic with the way that turned out in that last possession. So neither team looks like they're in a real rush to get to the line here. Timeout called maybe, but not sure that'd be such a good idea right now for Bowmanville. I feel like this game could have been a little more even on the scoreboard had Bowmanville maybe made some better handling decisions early in the game. Threw away a lot of discs on silly throws given the weather conditions today. And there is the horn right now. So I was off by 5 minutes on my estimate. Horn just went. So in all technicalities, this point has started the moment the goal was caught. So they can play it. It's not going to change anything on the scoreboard, so I'm not sure if the teams will want to risk injury and be out in the cold any further. Given that there's been a few discs to the head and a few cramps already with the weather, I think discretion is probably the better part of valor. Go shake hands and call it a game. Looks like Bowmanville is doing that. Kelvin, not sure if they want to do that. There's some confused looks. It looks like they are going to go out. And that is it. They've decided not to play the last point. Bowmanville with a nice little low 5 loop there. A little horseshoe action. That's pretty good. Good to see spirit from both teams. Well done from the coaches. And the coaches go through as well. So Kelvin from Manitoba with the 7-4 win over Bowmanville. We'll be back on the air tomorrow. If you want to check the schedule, please visit CHSUC.TV. We'll have our listings on there, and they should be updated with the teams that are playing based on the pool play results today, so you'll see times and the updated teams. Right now I'm not sure who's won these last round of games, so I'm not sure who is playing. So be sure to check our listings, CHSUC.TV. My name's Andrew Portwine. Thanks for joining today, and we shall see you tomorrow.